So I invite you to breathe with me. I invite you to bring your full, authentic self to this space together here right now. I'm reading a selection from Be Who You Are from a book called The Daily Om. You can subscribe to it online if you want a daily email from them. It reads, "When we were young children, we live authentically, seldom afraid or embarrassed to seek out what we want or to speak our minds. As we grow older, we tend to tuck that authenticity away, putting it aside when we chase our dreams, afraid that it may hinder us in our success. But we never let that freedom go completely. We may conform publicly to society's expectations while embracing secret passions when alone. It's important, however, never to stray too far from that youthful brashness and self-interest, for they are qualities that help make you who you are." So before we do the time for all ages, I'm just going to do my first reflection. So we don't have a lot of littles here, but we have a lot of people who might be little at heart. So I'm going to ask you questions that are geared for the whole audience. Who here has ever seen a dog so happy they just jump or spin in circles? Or a cat who zooms like a rocket around the room? Or do other silly things. Dogs and cats, they are awesome. They're just being who they are. No pretending, no worrying, they're just purely wagging, purring, ignoring us, leaping for joy. Have you ever seen a dog stop and say, maybe I shouldn't jump for joy right now? No, they just go for it. What would it be like if we lived like that, sharing big smiles, big hugs, big dreams, and knowing we're great just the way we are? So now Reverend Michelle is going to look in the Wonder Box, because I wonder what might be in there. So as an opening to my reflection, I'm going to read something that I found on Worship Web by Sarah Lamert, which has a very long title. It's called "The Elements of Fire Represent Passion, Veracity, Authenticity, and Vitality," but it really sets up my reflection very well. So, the element of fire represents passion, veracity, authenticity, and vitality. If the chalice is the supporting structure of Unitarian Universalism, then we are the flame. We are the flame fanned strong by our passion for freedom, our yearning for truth-telling, our daring to be authentic with one another, and the vitality we sustain in our meeting together. In all of this, there is love. So we're going to have a song that we all know well, but we're going to have it portrayed in a different way. Some of you may have seen Reverend Michelle share this. There was a group of people from a high school in Transylvania that is a Unitarian high school. I wish I'd gone to a Unitarian high school. But the Unitarian youth of Transylvania came to the Lincoln Memorial and they sang Spirit of Life. So we're going to watch them sing Spirit of Life in Washington, D.C. in a time where, gosh, we need to have Spirit of Life sung loudly in Washington, D.C., and we will sing along with them. We come together today not as perfect beings, but as seekers, imperfect, evolving, and yearning for lives that align with the principles and values of our faith. And for me, the struggle of life and the reality of being human means sometimes, actually a lot, I hide from my authentic self. This year, my word of the year is authenticity. So today, I offer you some thoughts about ways we might find the courage to discover and live a little bit more as our truest selves, sharing that authentic person with our beloved community. But before I start telling you all my ideas, let's start with an important question with my friend Michelle, who's going to come around with a microphone to hear what you think authenticity means to you. What is authenticity? Anybody have any ideas?
Doing what you believe in.
Nice. Thanks, Pat.
Honesty.
Those of you online, you can just say out loud. We know we can't hear you, but just say out loud too to participate.
I think just being how you truly are in every given situation.
Nice. Thank you.
Oh, we've got one more back there.
Wave at me.
Wait in the back.
Way in the back. Okay. I wasn't looking back enough. All the sunshine is glaring.
Being straightforward,
Yeah.
not playing games with how you feel or what you think. And if you don't want to say it straightforwardly, maybe it's not time to say it yet.
Ooh, there's a thing about timing there. I love that.
Being brave.
Being brave. Wow. Y'all, I have this list of things, but I don't need to say anything because you're covering everything. We've got more.
Being real.
Being.
Real.
Real. Excellent.
Okay, I'm going to pass it to you and then pass it down.
Being yourself without worrying about being judged by others. You just do what you want.
Pursuing your passions without guilt or letting anybody else make you feel weird or stupid about it.
I feel like there might be some stories there.
Loving your friends.
Loving your friends. As well as your enemies.
Oh,
Living your values.
living your values. Ah. Okay, I don't need to sermonize. We can be done. But no, I do have some things to say. I'm a professor in my day job, so I usually do a little research. So the Oxford English Dictionary provides some things that are nowhere near as good as y'all's, but we're gonna go with their definition. The quality of being genuine or real, the truthfulness of origins, commitments, or intentions. So let's kind of go to one of my personal favorite experts these days, the approachable social psychologist, Dr. Brené Brown. And I know a lot of you Amherst people like her, and one of our reading groups, shout out to Linda Joy, organizing a reading group for The Gift of Imperfection, but in a different book she wrote, and you can read it too. Authenticity is the daily practice of letting go of who we think we're supposed to be and embracing who we are. Embracing who we are. Likewise, Dr. Carl Rogers, one of the founders of humanistic psychology, reminds us in different words, but kind of similarly, something, and then goes a step farther. The curious paradox is that when I accept myself just as I am, then I can change. So, for me, authenticity is not about perfection or being right. It's about wholeness. Could it be that embracing our full humanity, including our flaws, our doubts, our evolving selves, can bring us to authenticity? So I was preparing for today, and I came up with some ideas that the universe has provided to me about how to learn about authenticity. And in the thing that I said before, the Reading for All Ages that I kind of hinted at, we're going to be talking about companion animals. And I'm also sharing with you another piece of art by the amazing Tate Connolly Cumberland. At the time that she did this, this was all the animals who lived in our house. So yes, that was another Christmas present the year before this was a Christmas present. She knows how to get to my heart. So have you never ever noticed that cats and dogs, they just live with complete authenticity, rarely pretending to be something they're not? I've cohabited with many dogs over let's go to the dogs. The one before. There we go, dogs. Most recently, our family got to live with Phoebe, a German-Australian Shepherd mix who sadly passed away last year. Sorry. Okay. Phoebe and other dogs taught me so much about authenticity. As I said earlier, a dog doesn't wonder, am I too much? Should I be more reserved and not show my joy or incitement? No, when they're excited to see you, they leap, they wag, they show up fully. No one has ever been as excited to see me come in the door on a random Tuesday, not even my beloved children, as Phoebe. She lived in the moment. She barked and leapt and let me know how much she loved me. And she never questioned that she herself was lovable. She knew that she was lovable. Sometimes when she was in my face as I was trying to put things down coming in the door, I had to breathe to remind myself how lovable she was. But she was amazing. What if we lived like that? What if we showed up fully in our relationships, in our creativity, in our dreams, without holding back, without questioning, if I do this, it might be too much? What if we too believed that we are worthy of love just the way we are? What if we didn't hold back in our excitement for fear of being embarrassed or judged for joy? What if that authenticity allowed other people to show their excitement the way we allow our dogs to show it? I've also lived with cats since I was young. Right now, I cohabit with a few. Cats are independent and wise. They do not overextend themselves. They can be affectionate. I mean, it depends on the cat, but on their own terms. That's their own authenticity. When they need rest, they take it. When they're done being petted, or some other situation being played with a little laser thing, they just walk away without guilt. You know. What do we need to learn from our feline friends? How often do we say yes when we really, in our heart, are thinking no? How often do we ignore our own needs to please others? Although I wish that Zenny would ignore his own needs and not knock things off the counter as much as he does. But anyways. But doesn't authenticity mean knowing ourselves deeply enough to honor our own limits, just as a cat would? Let's move back from my lovely stories about the dogs and cats to our UU faith and about how we can be authentic here and in the world as a UU. Because it's one thing to embrace our solitude, our authenticity in solitude, but it's another to bring our true selves into community. Even this community. Being authentic can be scary, especially if you're new to a community or if the community feels like it's in flux. Being authentic can have you think, what if people don't like the real me? I don't know if I can do that because I don't want to be judged. What if I risk being vulnerable and then I get hurt? Harkening back to my sermon last year about belonging, psychologists Desi and Ryan, who had developed that self-determination theory that I talked about at length last time. I have a lot fewer footnotes this year, y'all. They found that authenticity is actually deeply connected to a sense of belonging. When we are in spaces where we feel accepted, we feel free to express our true selves. So just as a dog trusts its human, just as a cat curls up on a lap, or watches us from afar if it's that kind of cat, we thrive when we trust that we are safe to be fully ourselves. And the scholars say that this is always true. So when we translate that to our faith, you can strive to create that same safety for those around us so that we can be fully authentic and ourselves too. So let's be honest, because being our true selves in community is essential, even more so in these challenging times, which is why I chose the opening song we sang. It's essential. It can also be really hard. A loving community that embraces authenticity is one where people don't have to perform and put on a facade that hides aspects of themselves. But then we have to work to empower people to bring their whole selves, because our whole selves are messy. They're evolving. The realness of them is often not as pretty as when you put on all the mascara and makeup and act very together. But in this community, we can know that we are valued and belong. If we truly want to put love at the center, as our faith calls us to, then we can bring authenticity even if there's conflict. Okay, I want to make a big, huge footnote here. Big, huge footnote. This sermon is aspirational. There are times in this world where authenticity is not safe. There are people for whom authenticity is very not safe in parts of this world. And so I want you to be careful, and I want you to not apply everything I'm saying to everywhere, unfortunately. I just want to put that as I recognize that's true, and some people talk about authenticity in a way that's not the way I'm talking about it now. So I just wanted, in case you're having that wondering, I know that there's another space in the world that we're living in, particularly in the United States of America right now, that's not there. But let's be in this beloved community for now. Let's talk about the true and loving community we want this to be. And I hope you have other true and loving communities in your life as well. So here, and in those other communities, how can we create spaces where authenticity is welcomed and nourished? How can we nourish this authenticity together? How can we really, truly allow us to share our real joys and our real struggles in acknowledging that we have them by putting the stones in, but also in talking about them and inviting others to talk with us about them? And in knowing that allowing that space for sharing our authentic selves, is inefficient. If we're going to actually allow that and not say, how are you doing? Fine, fine, fine. If we're going to actually do what I did to somebody who I'm not going to name out loud, when I was out there and they're like, how are you doing? I'm like, I'm really nervous right now because I have to give the sermon today and I'm nervous and I'm really nervous. And I started talking really fast because that's what I do and I get nervous. Instead of saying fine, and they looked at me like, you're giving the sermon and you're nervous? But then we talked about it. So you have to have those moments of doing that. And that was a longer conversation than just saying, fine, fine, good, good. Because in those conversations, we can unlock each other's gifts, unlock true connection, and truly center love. Our authentic selves are like a flame. When we hide who we truly are, the flame flickers a little bit. When we deny our gifts, that flame dims. When we show up fully, whenever we can, again, the safety thing, no, when you can't, but whenever we can show up fully, when we embrace our quirks, our truths, our vulnerabilities, our joy, that flame can burn so bright. I'm getting to the end of the sermon. It's now my job to give you ideas as to how to do this. About how we nurture our authentic flame here and in the world. Start by the thing I started with. Learn from our companion animals to love fiercely, rest when needed, trust our instincts. But here's a few other things we can think about. Come to places like here and other places that are available to us, where we can surround ourselves with people who see and affirm our true selves, and do that as much as we can. And for those of you online, we're glad that you're connecting either in real time or after, even though you can't be here. And we see and center your authenticity too. Thank you. Use courage to carefully be a bit more authentic when we're not surrounded by kindred spirits. What if you didn't answer fine to somebody when they asked you how you were? What if you did a sentence about something else? Carefully unfolding and reaching for more connections with authenticity. What if we really seek to believe in ourselves and others and cultivate more communities of acceptance and true listening? True listening is hard. True listening can be scary because if you're listening to somebody be authentic, you can get to a place where it opens up things for you. But if you invest in that, it can be amazing. And notice when you have these authentic moments, and think about ways you can build more of them. Beloveds, the world needs each of you, each of the authentic parts of you, your wisdom, your dreams, your fears, your commitment, your whole authentic self. So let's all dedicate some time this week, or just during coffee hour, about how we collectively can nurture our authentic flames. Let us learn from the joy of dogs and self-knowing cats. Let us lean into the warmth of this space within UU Amherst, our beloved UU Amherst community, trusting that we can be safe to be fully ourselves. And let us leave ready to find more opportunities to bring these authentic selves into the outside world. So I'm about to close. I'm about to let you stop having to listen to me and get to sing again, which that may be sad for some of you, and that's authentically you, but lots of you are excited about that. But I want to invite you to take a gift from me to remind you of this conversation. I want you to take a small flame reflecting the theme of this sermon. And so we've got people going around with baskets. Be sure you get a flame and then turn it on and hold up your flame as we are singing this song, and then take home this flame, because I want you to feel safe and remember that being your authentic self, particularly in the times we are living in today, is going to allow us to bring light to a dark time in our world. And with that, I will say thank you for listening to me and turn it over to Michelle to authentically lead us in song as people are getting their flames. Thank you very much.